Good morning, one and all. Today, our topic is chelating agents. So, these chelating agents are the compounds mainly used in the heavy metal poisoning. They combine or form complexes with the metallic ions, forming the ring structures within their molecule. Chela means scrap. They form stable, non toxic, and easily excretable complexes with the toxic metals. They contain two or more reactive groups, ligand, such that they hold the metal from the two sides like claw. A ligand is a functional group capable of forming coordinate bond in which both the shared electrons are donated by the ligand. Mostly oxygen, nitrogen or the sulfur atom in the hydroxyl, carboxyl, keto, sulfhydryl, disulfide, amino or the phosphate groups. Coming to the mechanism of action of the chelating agents. Heavy metals exert their toxic effects by combining with and inactivating the functional groups or the ligands of the enzymes and important biomolecules, that is sulfhydryl, hydroxyl, carboxyl, etc., leading to the inactivation. Chelating agents compete with the body ligands for the heavy metal. They also differ in the affinity for the different metals. Chelating agents have high affinity for such metals and combine with them and form non-toxic and water-soluble complexes for elimination. They possess negative charge to attract the positively charged toxic metals. So, coming to the features of an ideal chelating agent, an ideal chelating agent should have higher affinity for the toxic metals than for the body calcium, readily available in the plasma and the extracellular fluid. And these chelating agents, they should also have higher affinity for the toxic metals than the body ligands. Ideally, they should be water soluble and the distribution should correspond to that of the metal intended to. The interval of administration between the exposure to the metals and chelating agents should be less. That is, earlier the better. Coming to the classification of chelating agents, you have dimercaprol, that is British anti-lewisite or BAL. It is useful in case of poisoning with arsenic, aurium, bismuth, nickel, antimony and mercury poisoning. Next you have dimercaptosuccinic acid, succimer for the lead poisoning. Next you have calcium disodium erythriate for the lead poisoning. Next you have disodium erythriate. Penicillamine for the copper poisoning, also for the lead, mercury and zinc poisoning. Desferrioxamine for the iron overload and deferriprone for the iron poisoning. So first we will be dealing with the dimercaprol or British anti-lewisite, first introduced during the World War II time. It is an oily, pungent smelling, viscous liquid, water insoluble, and it is useful in case of poisoning with the heavy metals like arsenic, mercury, aurium, bismuth, nickel, antimony and copper. It attacks the sulfhydryl group, which is an important component of coenzyme A, and prevents the formation of acetyl coenzyme A, leading to a disaster. BAL binds with these metals and protects the coenzyme A. So, this 1:1 versus 2:1 complex is more stable. Excess amount is required to have the chelating effect. Metal BAL complex dissociates quickly, releases the metal slowly. BAL partly metabolized in the body by oxidation. Alkalinization of urine is required. In acid urine, complexes dissociate faster. There is dose dependent toxicity, so no larger dose at a time. Coming to the uses, it is useful in case of arsenic, mercury, orium or the gold poisoning, bismuth, nickel and antimony poisoning. Dose is, it should be given intramuscularly in 10% solution in oil. It is available as 2 ml ampule, 50 milligrams per ml. It is given deep intramuscularly 5 milligrams per kg stat every 4 hourly for 2 days, followed by increase in the interval after the third day. It is also useful as an adjuvant to calcium disodium EDTA in lead poisoning, as an adjuvant to penicillamine in copper poisoning. Coming to the adverse effects, it has unpleasant nausea, vomiting, burning sensation of the mouth, inflammation of the mucous membranes, sweating, cramps and lacrimation. It is contraindicated in hepatic damage and cadmium and iron poisoning. Here you can see dimercaprol and then how it is binding to the sulfhydryl group. This is the ampule of preparation of dimercaprol injectable preparation. Next you have penicillamine. It is a degraded product of penicillin beta dimethylcysteine. It is prepared by alkaline hydrolysis of benzyl penicillin. It is D-penicillamine. It has strong copper chelating property, useful in copper poisoning. Mechanism of action, same, it has the chelating effect, selectively chelates copper, mercury, lead and zinc. It is absorbed orally, available as 250 milligrams capsules, metabolized in the liver and excreted in urine. It is useful in Wilson's disease, which is hepatolenticular degeneration due to the genetic deficiency of ceruloplasmin, copper deposition in the body. Here it has to be given as a lifelong therapy, half to 1 gram per day. In case of copper and mercury alternate poisoning and then chronic lead poisoning as an adjuvant to EDTA, and in case of cystinuria and cystine stones. In case of scleroderma, it benefits by increasing the soluble collagen. Adverse effects, you have cutaneous reactions and then general effects like headache, sore throat, fever, rash, loss of taste and neuritis. In blood, it can cause leukopenia, thrombocytopenia and aplastic anemia. Renal effects, nephrotic syndrome and hematuria. It can cause autoimmune conditions like myasthenia-like syndrome, diabetes, SLE. Next you have calcium disodium EDTA. This calcium disodium EDTA, it is useful clinically instead of sodium EDTA. It is ethylene diamine tetraacetic acid. It has high affinity for lead, zinc, cadmium, manganese, copper and some radioactive metals. Mechanism of action, it removes the metals by exchanging with the calcium. It is highly ionized, not absorbed orally, and that's why acts extracellularly, rapidly excreted by the kidney. It is given intravenously as it is not absorbed in the gut. Intramuscular injection is painful. It has no CSF penetration. It is useful in case of lead poisoning. 1 gram is diluted in 200 to 300 ml of normal saline and it is infused over 1 hour twice daily. Second course is repeated after 1 week. Useful in case of iron poisoning, zinc poisoning, copper and manganese poisoning, but not in case of mercury poisoning. Adverse effects, it can cause kidney damage. Toxic metal dissociates in the tubule. There should be enhanced urine flow. It can cause febrile reactions, chills, body aches, malaise, tiredness, etc. And it can also cause anaphylactic reactions. Next drug is desferrioxamine. It is useful in acute iron poisoning. This ferrioxamine, it is an iron containing compound from actinomycetes. Chemical removal of iron, desferrioxamine. 1 gram is equivalent to 85 milligrams of elemental iron. So this binds with the ferric iron and it forms a stable non-toxic compound. It also removes the iron which is loosely bound from hemosiderin and ferritin, but not hemoglobin and cytochrome. It has low calcium affinity. It is given subcutaneously or intravenously. The preparation has 0.5 grams per vial. Useful in acute iron poisoning and in case of transfusion siderosis, 0.5 to 1 gram per day subcutaneously or with blood transfusion 2 grams per unit of the blood. Adverse effects, there may be histamine release, fall in the blood pressure and allergic reactions. So this acute iron poisoning, it is more common in the infants and the children. So it can be due to the dose is 10 to 20 milligrams of iron tablets or equivalent about 60 milligrams per kg. So symptoms of the acute iron poisoning are vomiting, abdominal pain, hematemesis, diarrhea, lethargy, cyanosis, dehydration, acidosis, shock, convulsions and death. There is hemorrhage and inflammation in the gut, hepatic necrosis and brain damage. The aim of the treatment is to induce the vomiting or gastric lavage with sodium bicarbonate, egg yolk or milk orally to complex with the iron. This desferrioxamine to bind to the iron already present. The dose is 50 milligrams per kg intramuscularly or subcutaneously every 4 to 12 hourly till the serum levels of iron fall below 200 micrograms per deciliter, or intravenously 10 to 15 milligrams per kg per hour till the serum iron falls below 200 micrograms per deciliter. Supportive therapy with fluid and correction of acidosis is required. Next, you have deferiprone. It is an orally active iron chelator given in transfusion siderosis in thalassemia patients. Also used in iron poisoning but less effective than desferrioxamine. The dose is 50 to 100 milligrams per kg in daily divided doses 4 times per day. Adverse effects are joint pains, anorexia, vomiting and agranulocytosis. So these are the chelating agents. So you have British anti-leucite, penicillamine, calcium mediate, deferiprone, all these are important. And then management of acute iron poisoning. Thank you.